So the question is, or a question is self-defense underrated, underutilized? Is it necessary? Because it's just been like, I mean, violence has unfortunately been with us. You know what I'm saying? Depending on
Right.
your class, your economic class, like it's unfortunately a part of poverty, a part of working class neighborhoods. But social media has definitely put the spotlight on on how yucky it can be. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really because every crime unfortunately doesn't make the news. You know what I'm saying? The corporate news doesn't broadcast everything that we experience in these neighborhoods. So social media has definitely filled that gap. Because I don't know if we would have known. I mean, that was an interest. That was, I guess the murders have to have a spectacular element to it. You know what I'm saying? If it's an everyday murder, then it's like, yeah, whatever with that. So it has to have like the, more, it got to be spicy. So I mean, the recent one obviously is the 7-year-old getting murdered. Jazmine Barnes, but a few other names that made it out, but I don't know how popular, or Takiya Holmes is SheNyah O'Flynn, is Kanari Gentry Bowers, is Taylor Hayes. And one that really woke me up years ago at this point, decades even, was when Latasha Harlins got murdered. You know what I'm saying? In 92. That was
tragic.
Yeah. I mean, and I think again, it's not like she was the first to be murdered. Like they just caught that serial killer, or that serial killer just confessed to killing pretty much 90 different women. You know what I'm saying? Brown bodied women from coast to coast. You know what I'm saying? 90. This dude had a killing spree of 3 decades or something crazy. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show how black women aren't even valued. It's almost like their deaths aren't even investigated. Right. So clearly none of this is new, but we need obviously a new response because this is not sustainable.
Right. No, indeed. And it's like, it is a critical problem. You know what I'm saying? This issue of us being defended, of us being protected, or, black life having value, of being preserved. And it's a very serious issue that is overlooked. And, again, I always look at this from a systematic issue as well, white supremacy. And I just think it comes just to our introduction to dealing with the establishment of white supremacy, specifically speaking about the people of, African descent or black, in what we call North America. Our relationship with these people has always been a relationship of physical abuse. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And it's always been this thing where, us having a concept of self-preservation has been been made a sin. You know what I mean? This whole thought of us wanting to be, not harmed or not beat or not raped or not killed or, not misused and abused is a thought that we shouldn't have. And this is something that, you were brought here to be misused, abused, to be raped, to be killed, to be, talked bad about, to destroy, So, in order to do with people like that, you have to convince them that, not only are they worthy of that, but that's their plight. And that's what should happen to them. And they should accept that. And, so it's been a deep conditioning that has taken place, that we look for ours in the by and by, and when it comes to us, we are supposed to, in this life, receive this type of mistreatment. And unfortunately, various mechanisms have been used by the system of white supremacy, such as religion, the whole turn the other cheek concept. The majority of our people has been, brought up under the theological Christian trying, turn the other cheek, not the Nat Turner theological translation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just we've been given that concept of, you look for yours in the Bible. By the next life, this whole thing, two wrongs, right, and an eye for an eye makes everybody blind. This is a concept that we've been given for so long with these people, and it's been reinforced through education. School, you always learned about the good slave and the slave that never rebelled, the slave that just worked hard day and night and just took them beatings and just took them whoopings and just still tried to be good people. Because at the end of the day, being good is better than having justice. You know what I'm saying? So, I believe in a lot of these ideological concepts we have. And many of them was forced upon us and, re-emphasized through many things, like I said, through education, through film, media, that this is our plight. This is our plight to accept this type of mistreatment. And so, it's to the point now with our people that, I believe that's where we at. The majority of us, or that is where we are at. We are at this thing now, that, we have
just accepted that black life is cheap.
Yeah,
it's not worth fighting for.
Exactly. And like I said, again, we have been victimized by these different ideas that have been given to us through many institutions, in this under this system. From media, from, TV and, religion that's been used and things like that, And so these are some of the things that have been used to serve the interests of white supremacy, to serve the interests of that. When you get killed, that's okay. You understand what I'm saying? When you get killed, that's okay. That's what's supposed to happen. It's just like you people with the whole all lives matter response. I remember when I first started hearing that, I was like, wow, that is a hateful statement by white supremacists. Like, all lives matter, really? So to be stepping on a cockroach is equivalent to a black boy or girl or man or woman getting killed out here in these streets. Sometimes we don't reflect on the speech of these people all over. So all means ALL. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, a dog getting hit on the freeway. That's the same, right?
No, that may be more. What are you saying?
Of course. Exactly. And it will be more. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's just, I'm just giving the analysis of that statement that we hear. I'm just reflecting on that statement. I'm just saying that to bring clarity that when people say all lives matter, they say anybody's life except yours matters. When we just break that statement down and analyze that. When someone talks about getting killed, all lives matter. Really. You know what I'm saying? So it's just meaning that, everybody else's life is more important than yours. So we don't want to hear you bring up your life, because as far as we're concerned, everybody else's life is more important to yours. So that's their response. You understand what I'm saying? This is the white supremacist mentality that your life don't mean nothing. That's why when you say, well, my life matters, well, no, it don't. We'll recognize everybody else's life except yours. You understand? So this is the type of predatory mentality that has miseducated us, has misinformed us, has raised us up on false information. And we have, internalized the ideals, practices, and indoctrinations and concepts of these people. And so, as far as I'm concerned, that's a big part of our crisis when it comes to this issue of, self-preservation, of maintaining because, in essence, many of us don't believe that we are supposed to do that.
I mean, another retort was that Negroes kill each other more than others. Like, so whether it's police or white people, so why don't we deal with that versus making this issue as though it, as though it's really anybody else's problem. Like, if black on black violence is the real killer, then why are you trying to raise this up when a cop kills, an individual? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was just more white deception. Again, I'm so glad you said that, because you probably have seen this. I don't know if you have, but I would like to connect it to what you just said. They got this white judge online right now, and a lot of our people are confused, not aware of what they're looking at. They're not aware of what they're seeing. You know what I'm saying? To say the least. And, because like Mr. Fuller says, one thing that people who believe in practicing white supremacy practice that often confuses its victims is deception. And one of the main tools they use in their deceptive practices is they play both sides of the argument. You understand? So, and then it's okay. A prime example of that right now is something I saw online recently, and it kind of tickled me. I said, wow, look at how these people are practicing deception. It's this white judge, and he's on stand, and he's talking about, well, I grew up in Tennessee, and, and I grew up around, keep in mind, he's a white judge.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I grew up in Tennessee, and I grew up watching the Ku Klux Klan wear white hoods, and, they were killing black men. They were shooting black men. Right. And so then he says, but now in this community and in this country, black men are wearing black hoodies, killing black men wearing more than the Ku Klux Klan ever did. And a more of an effective rate. And then he just said, and I just don't know what to do about it other than just scream and holler on this stand. I just don't know what to do. So I'm just going to do that right now on this stand. I'm just going to talk about it and vent about it. Oh, really? You understand what I'm saying? It's just more white deception. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, now here it is. You're a judge. You locking black men up. You part of the prison industrial complex. You are enforcing many of these backwards laws, oppressive laws, because backwards would say ignorant. They're very intentional to cause harm on black male life. You're enforcing many of these laws. You are in a position to change some of these laws that are creating some of these type of black men who are in your court shooting each other down. Not only that, you are also more than likely friends with people who are creating policies, who are in control of certain government positions that are not putting resources in these black men's communities. You understand, people who are involved with the institutions of education who are miseducating these black men. You are involved with this very same system of these laws. You understand? So it's like, this is just the more deceptive practices. You know what's creating these black men in your court. And likewise, you know what created the Klan. And you know those people who were in the Klan, and you know about them. You understand? But you're trying to avert the situation from the Klan as if the spirit of the Klan has died, as if they're not wearing robes like yourself now, as they're not wearing suits, practicing lawyer, as if they're not legislators now, just as if they're not. Because if you grew up around them and you were judged, that means it's very safe to say that somewhere it's a politician, a congressman, a senator, a lawyer, a mathematician, a scientist that go around them same Klansmen that you. But you want to practice this deception. Oh, why you guys are doing it? You know why they're doing it. And like I said, you're not creating any of these laws to stop these things. You ain't creating nothing. You're not using your position, man, to change any of it.
Well, I think that the laws that they've pushed forward were mandatory minimums. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Gang injunctions. So they, in their minds, they're keeping people off the street that would commit these crimes. So.
Right. And that's the point. If you want to see this go away, then that's not going to be the way as a enforcer of law. You understand? Again, I go back to the statement of Amy Shinjar, sociologist. Any society that does not take responsibility for the elements of the society is a decrepit society. The white supremacist society is the only society on the planet that blames its adherents for its inconsistencies. If it's the people who live in your civilization that you run, because they run this system, they run this country. If you have people in here gunning themselves down in the streets and you're so concerned about it, then why aren't you doing anything about it? Other than, I'm just going to complain about it on the stand? Stop it. You know what I'm saying? You know what to do to create that. Like you said, you know what to do to get rid of it. Y'all create these mandatory minimums and things of this nature, gang injunctions, gang enhancements, everything. Right now, I know a sister right now, her son is facing 57 years because a friend of his stabbed somebody, and when they got arrested, his gang tattoo on him, so they said, y'all, gang, we hitting you with this, enhance the sentence. You see, well, dear judge, this is the same law system you're a part of. And we already know prisons is designed to create beasts and monsters. It's not designed for reforming. We all know this. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is the deception that's being practiced. Again, every ethnic group kills itself. White people kill themselves. So-called Latinos kill themselves. So-called Asians kill themselves. Now, all of a sudden, when black people kill themselves, oh, it's an epidemic. And, why is this happening? When studies show every group kills themselves about in the right amount of the same numbers. And something else somebody need to ponder upon. Why are white people killing each other in such record numbers when they don't have these gang problems? They don't have these social ills and social ailments that we know create these problems in inner city communities. But y'all still killing each other at these high numbers? What does that say about your psychology, sir? What does that say about the pathology of your people, sir? If we put these things up under the microscope properly the way we are supposed to. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but,
that is
this
interesting.
is the thing. Yeah. White people kill each other in very high numbers, bro. Very high numbers.
And then
but it's not never true.
Then that mass murder spree that they continuously, like, every once a season, like, at least they're going to shoot up multiple people in a public place as well. That's interesting.
And with that, look at the deception. With that. Again, as I say, all these things about this deception these people use. You understand what I'm saying? Like, well, the issue is he said, when they the issue is gun reform. When your son shoots somebody, it's gun.
You say, can you repeat that? Oh, okay. So it's gun control when they do the killing.
If they son shoot 30 people in one setting, the issue is about the gun now. Now, your son or my son go shoot up 2 people. Our sons are animals. You understand? It's not about the gun anymore. It's about our sons are animals. Now, your son just 30 innocent children. When people went to go see Batman and have a good time, your son just thought it was a parent and started killing people. He was that upset with the movie. But when your son does this, well, it's about the guns. We got to get rid of these guns.
Or it becomes, in addition to the mental stability.
Yeah, mental health. You know what I'm saying? Well, this is about the gun. It's about mental health now. It's not about your white son that seems to fit over and over again. There's a pathology in the white male that seems to think is very ordinary okay when he is upset about something that he can kill people.
Well, there's another lens that's being wheeled out, and it's toxic masculinity. This is the result of unchecked, unbalanced maleness. You know what I'm saying? That this is a man problem that's being imposed, especially when you deal with the list I just I read. I believe all of them were victims of violence at the hands of men and Negro men at that. You see what I'm saying? So that's five women, five girl children rather, all under the age of 13 that were murdered. So when it was framed as a tweet, it mentioned, toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
That this
I'm
is,
not familiar.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm not familiar with those particular women and these toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at that description. What's not toxic about non-white people's situation living up under the system?
Mm-hmm.
Everything we involved in is toxic. So, I don't have no problem having a discussion about toxic masculinity amongst non-white people. However, let's have that issue discussion about toxic femininity amongst non-white people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the position that our interactions as a people up under the system is toxic, period.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it being toxic is one of the things that's going to help maintain this system. But just for an intellectual discussion, dealing with that argument, and I almost don't want to bring it up because I cannot think of her name right now. But the woman who actually coined that term, toxic masculinity, who is a modern day white feminist, hopefully her name will re-jar to me before we finish this conversation. She makes it very clear that the concept of toxic masculinity is talking about the European white male specifically. She makes it very clear in that discussion, because I just started reading her book, reading some of her writings rather, and listening to some of her interviews. And I was listening to one of her interviews specifically, and I wanted to get her book, but she made it very clear that the concept of toxic masculinity is based off of the European white male. She said, because when you look at the way other societies are set up of non-white men, in particular, is the things that they do for their women, does not even put them in the category of being toxic. And when she talks about patriarchy, she talks about it in the sense that it's a global system and it's something that you can enforce on people against their will and that they can't throw off. And like she says, the only man on the planet who has the ability to do that right now is the white male. And so, that's her perspective. And we can come back on a later show and I can talk about her more in detail. I am going to get her book and I can, perhaps her name will come back to it. But that's just some intellectual discussion dealing with the issue of toxic masculinity. But the woman who's coined that term, she's in a position that the term toxic masculinity only appeals to white men and white male culture, because white male culture is specific about dictating, dominating, and controlling the women in every aspect of their life. She said when you study other civilizations, other things, you had women who held positions, you had women who had status in the society, you had women who had various things, had the ability to read, had the ability to educate, had the ability to teach. She says that does not happen under toxic white men. So, that's just another issue, sidebar. But again, back to that, some of these things is going to be toxic. I believe black people's experiences with one another, period, is toxic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because, we are in a toxic situation for one, and we are being dictated and dominated by toxic people. White racist man and white racist woman that believes in racism, white supremacy as a global system dynamic. I don't think it gets more toxic than that. And we are their byproducts.
So with this perspective, you don't feel like you're giving too much credit to white men and their system? Like, it sounds as though like they are all powerful. Are you am I mishearing that, or is there a reason for that tone?
That they are all powerful?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they are power in the context of systems that's controlling the planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are that group. That's just the raw facts. They are group. I mean, again, I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's just that this group system is running the world. Here it is. They could go and tell another sovereign nation, "Hey, you better stop making that bomb." Why? Because we said so. Well, we sovereign and we got our own side. I don't care. Don't make that weapon. Get rid of it. Well, we just want to have what you have. We don't care. Get rid of it. Shut that program down now. And it gets shut down.
Oh, man.
And it gets shut down now. You understand? It gets done. So again, people who disagree with what I'm saying, that's okay. They have the right to do that. As victims of racism, they have the right to disagree with brother Samir. They ain't got to agree with everything I say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They got that right. But I'm just basing it off what I see. That's why I said, I'm just, let me know where I'm wrong at. You know what I'm saying? People will say, I was just telling somebody this yesterday. Okay, here it is. They say, America, we welcome immigrants. America, we welcome your sick. They say, yeah, not no more. We done with that. But y'all said this. We don't give a damn what we said. We doing this now. And who gonna make them stop? What nation right now, you understand what I'm saying, is going to stand up and tell ICE, y'all better let them little kids go. Y'all better let them go right now or it's going to be problems. Who can do that, brother? Just name me one place. who just one. Not two, not three, not four, not five. Name me one place, one sovereign nation right now that can stand up and say, y'all better let them kids go right now. And if you don't, it's going to be problems. Y'all better, come on, man. Look at Gaddafi. Here it is, this dude talking about he's going to start backing his economy with gold. And, and going to start giving out non-interest loans, to other African nations. And the system of white supremacy stood up and said, hey, man, you can't do that. He said, I'm going to do it anyway. Hey, look here, man, you can't do that. I'm going to do it anyway. They destabilized that man's whole government in 7 days.
Wow.
Had his people, you know what I'm saying? Destabilized a whole country in 7 days.
Okay, so to scale it down to neighborhood violence and the philosophy that everybody has a choice, that no one made you pick up the gun to shoot into a car, in like in Jazmine Barnes' case, you feel me?
What's even with that? I'm highly suspicious of that. To me that story sounds very strange. And, as far as I'm concerned, until all the facts come out and proven completely, I'm very suspicious of that story.
Well, allegedly, one confessed and snitched on the crimey, and then they found the weapon at an address. So what more proof do you need?
Right. That I understand what you're saying, but as victims of white supremacy, it's not difficult for these people to plant weapons on people. It's not difficult for these people to torture people. It's not difficult for these people to do forced testimonies or false testimonies and everything like this and like that. We could just look at the Central Park 5. Come on, man. Mm-hmm. This is common history, modern history on top of that. Railroaded them boys. You know what I'm saying? Came up with all false information Supposedly they pulled this youngster over in Houston smoking weed, and then he starts confessing to this murder. I mean, that to me, and then in spite of what witnesses who in traffic say, it was a white man who rolled up and shot into this car, and the mother who was wounded says a white man shot her, and the children who was in the car, understand what I'm saying, who survived, say it was a white man who shot into the car. I mean, I'm not willing to overlook that, especially for this testimony of those children, and I tell you why. As a child growing up in L.A., you understand what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
I unfortunately witnessed several drive-by shootings growing up in the crack era of South Central Los Angeles. And every time I've seen it as a child, I remember the face of every man I saw.
Wow.
You understand? Like, particularly when one of the murders I saw that was very close to me, I was very present. Actually, my older brother, who saved my life that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like I would never get that man's face out of my head who shot that brother. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. It's something about the memory of a child. I don't, so for me, I'm going to believe that woman who was shot, because you remember who shot you, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And if, you get the face of who shot you, that's what you're not going to do. You understand what I'm saying? So this woman says a white man shot her. I'm going to believe her. Okay, and then second, I'm definitely going to believe the testimony of those children in that car who said, because being once a child who witnessed a murder, that the memory of a child, you just don't forget that. You know what I'm saying? You don't forget that. So that whole story right there sounds suspicious to me. I'm just me personally. I'm not buying that story. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just buying that story. And I'm not someone that's big on, as they say, conspiracies, but I understand what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a system that practices deception, and we're dealing with a system that thrives off having us in a weak position. The last thing you need on your hands if you're a slave master is slaves that don't want to be slaves no more.
Mm-hmm. So, what would be the motivation to change that series of events? Like, who would benefit from changing it from a white murderer to two Negroes?
So, white supremacy would benefit. One, it's going to take the attention off of them, because it's so hard to do something to black men when they hear about women killed. You know what I'm saying? It does something to their psychology. It'll make the most sheepish male want to act.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? And it'll at least, and even if it don't make him act, it's going to put the thought in his mind, I'll never let that happen again. More than likely, it'll stir him. Or it's going to stir others around, even if it don't stir the ones who've been completely sterilized. You know what I'm saying? The other, they can't take that risk. That's not good for business.
Mm.
You understand? Part of it's just like they say, you don't need no rebellious slaves. That's bad for business. You got to keep your slaves passive. You got to keep your slaves asleep. You got to keep slaves under a chroma. As Garvey said, people wake up, you sleeping giant. You understand what I'm saying? It's dangerous when a giant wake up. That's bad for everybody. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's bad for everybody when a giant rises up out of his sleep, her sleep. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be bad for everybody.
Because that was such a spontaneous murder, how would self-defense play into that? Like moving forward, like what are we talking about in regards to self-defense? I mean, especially with random murder, but in general.
Well, self-defense and I believe it's a culture, and I believe it's a mindset, and I believe it's an ideology, and I believe it's a way of thinking. And from all my research of it and being someone who's trying to be committed to being a practitioner of it, one thing I started to learn more and more about self-preservation, self-defense. I tend to use the term self-preservation more than anything because I know it's more a lot of Negroes. They get nervous right away. You know what I'm saying? But it's, self-preservation, self-defense is that, it's a mentality. It's a worldview, just like being a race soldier is a mentality. And mentalities of race soldiers is they look for people to oppress. They look out for people to harm. Likewise, someone who's committed to self-preservation, they look out for those who are trying to harm them. So it will mentality we begin to now when we out driving, we don't be so absent-minded. We start paying attention to that car that's riding a little bit too close to us. We start paying attention to that car, the facial expressions of that driver. Yeah, and that's rolling up next to us, the language. When we get in the mentality of being self-defense, self-preserving, we'll begin to start looking for more of those things, and just perhaps we'll be able to preserve ourselves in those situations when they present themselves. You understand? So that's the thing,
So being situationally aware.
Right. That's another aspect of being in the worldview of self-defense. You become situationally aware. You understand? You're going to develop this concept that that it's race soldiers out there, it's people there who don't like your life. Not only do they don't like your life, they have a system that's going to support them in executing your life. So at this moment in time, it's showing you that they don't have your life completely in mind like that, and it's not their concern, then at this point, we must follow logic and do what? We must make our lives our primary concern.
And that extends to the internal threat, which is, Negroes that have a disregard for Black life as well.
Them as well. This doesn't just apply to them. This applies to anybody that's cancerous towards productive Black life, because 9.5 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, who are on another Black person, we don't need them around no way.
Repeat that. It was breaking up. You said...
I said 10 times out of 10, if not 9.5 times out of 10, that person, that Black person that's engaging in evil acts towards another Black person, we don't need them around no way. So, you defend yourself against this. Your self-defense is not racial. It's really a human quality. You understand what I'm saying? But see, that's the thing. That's why I go back to our introduction to dealing with these people. See, a lot of things that's just nature have been ripped out of us. You understand? That's why we got to say, first Black college graduate, a Black town, a Black mayor, a Black doctor, a Black scientist. Man, that's really normal. That ain't nothing. That's normal. But why is that an accomplishment for us? Because we ain't supposed to be that under this system. You know what I'm saying? And so when we become those things, a Black business owner, that shouldn't be nothing, man. It's whatever. It's only something because we know it's a system in place that prevents these type of things. So that's why we always get all gooey inside. A black doctor, a Black lawyer, a Black this, because we know that there's things in place to try to stop those things from happening. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's part of our illogic as well, because we say, hey, man, Don't blame the system. We just got to do our work harder. You know what I'm saying? Now let's tear down this system that's trying to just stop us from being what we would naturally be. You understand what I'm saying? We would naturally be these things. It wouldn't even be no need to say a black this, a black that, or black this, or black that. But because they've made that an abnormality for black people, we got to say that. But that's basic, man. That's normal stuff. People making sure their children are educated. People making sure their children got a job when they get grown. People making sure their children have the ability to maintain a marriage or a family or a community. That's basic. It's normal.
And I think the level of violence, like how quickly it's escalating socially, aside from what's being presented, on social media, so on and so forth, but just it's a lack of manners in general. You know what I'm saying? Like that was one good thing about the church institutions, that it used to give this layer of a code of behavior that at least was grounded in courtesy. You know what I'm saying? At least it gave you the excuse me, the no thank you, the yes please. Like that was one institution, even if your family wasn't teaching it, unless you had an opportunity to learn a social code, to interact politely in society, right? So now that somehow that's dislodged, you know what I'm saying, I just see more and more just disregard. It's almost like I feel like we got to take it back to punching people in their chin, like just to try and reestablish some balance. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I was standing right here. You felt the need just to, whatever, step on my shoe, to cut me off, to, whatever list of discourtesies you can think of. It's just like seems to be an escalation of that. So I'm interested in the balance. Like, how do we balance the behavior that leads to, to a possible self-defense situation like that? It seems to be a factor in it as well.
Exactly. Like I said, defense is a mentality, it's a worldview, it's an ideology. And one of the main things is that you don't offend and you don't transgress on others. You understand what I'm saying? And because if you do that, resistance will be met. So part of someone who's in the mentality of being into self-preservation, defending themselves, they're not quick to fight with someone else because they know what it's going to lead to. So let me not do that because I don't want to get into a fight, because they understand you fight, it's just that. It's a fight. They're going to get dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we start teaching the culture of, self-preservation, self-defense, in general, that's what I said, it's a mentality that needs to be practiced, period. See, we don't have no problem fighting each other. You understand? We don't have no problem doing that because we've always been trained that that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? That same person that was telling their son turn the other cheek against the race soldier was the same person telling their son, hey, man, pick up a stick and hit somebody if you have to. They're trying to jump on you. Well, you already know 9 out of 10 your son will have to use that stick against another black face that look like his. Now, you telling him to use a stick against these kids, but you telling him to turn the other cheek against these kids. See, this is psychological dysfunction we got going on. You understand what I'm saying? We teach our children not to stand up against people who don't look like them, that's trying to hurt them and oppress them. But we teach our children, you better knock that nigga head off. You see? So this is some part of the things that also creates the culture of why a cat don't feel no problem disrespecting you. Why? Because he's been given that green light by his parents. By people who love him. You know what I'm saying? But if that people that love him taught him, listen, don't be the aggressor. Try not to fight, not necessary. Only fight when it's very necessary. And you do that with anyone who was trying to bring harm to you. Anybody who was trying to head off. Anybody.
Yeah, because that's what's interesting. The few murders that have been caught on tape and made public, where the police are claiming that there was like they were resisting arrest, and like Eric Garner, the New York cat, like if that big man was actually resisting, like it would have been more trouble. He was merely not. I mean, first of all, the police, how they define not resisting is very different. You know what I'm saying?
I counted 8 times. He said he couldn't breathe. I don't know how many times you counted.
Yeah, but I'm saying before it got there, like if he would have started fighting, like as big as he was, that would have been if he would have been aware that I'm about to be murdered. And he actually brought a self-defense principle to that fight, it would have went differently. Not saying that they wouldn't have murdered him, but what resistance looks like for grown men is not that. And I don't see it in these situations where they accuse these people of resisting arrest.
And he might be alive. You know what I'm saying? He might still be here today. Now, he might be in jail. You understand? But he might not even be dead. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, we got to stop even using the conversation. He might have get murdered. No, he might have lived. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's just like the thing is, you know what? We know whatever's supposed to happen happens. Okay, that's cool. We all right, we'll recognize that for people who are on the higher spiritual vibration. All right, that's cool for people who want to make that argument. But then it's like we have to make the argument, too, that people who have this higher spiritual status, that y'all know, more important than anybody, y'all got to help establish justice on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's like, okay, like me, I man, like I said, I counted 8 times. And I hate seeing, and I'm probably going to say something that's controversial, and I hope I don't offend nobody that's a friend or a relative of Eric Garner. But I'm just speaking as a victim that grew up in the inner cities and the concrete jungles of what we call North America. You understand me? And every time I see that video, I can't, or any other video, it's a black man getting choked out or stomped out or whatever by a race soldier with a badge on. I can't help, but specifically since we talk about Eric Garner, I just can't help but ask. You let Ray from up the block choke him out like that. I highly. And so my thing is, this is why I say self-defense.
You said you highly doubt it?
I highly doubt he would let Ray from up the block choke him out like that. I highly doubt it. Now, I don't know. I could be wrong. But I highly doubt it. Again, I hope I don't offend nobody that know the brother that may hear this or that's related to him. And, you know, if I do, my apologies in advance. But I'm just saying, I can't see that. You see, self-defense is a mentality that we have to begin to start teaching our children and teaching our loved ones, our friends, our parents, our you know, our associates, whatever, brothers, sisters, whatever. Because again, we need to get into the mentality that your life is worth preserving. You understand what I'm saying? Regardless of who is taking it. See, why is it that we have this psychological component in our mind that, oh, okay, well, we'll let them kill us, but not these people? No.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was getting at, is that I hadn't seen that resistance. You know what I'm saying? In the ones that's been documented. Whereas the other cats that have resisted that actually came out with firearms on, so they usually get something off. You know what I'm saying? I remember it was an Oakland cat some years back. He came out and decided not to go back to prison that day. You know what I'm saying? And I think he killed like 3 of them and was hiding for like 2-3 hours. So again, that's
Mixon.
Okay. That's resistance. What's his name again?
Lavelle Mixon.
And that's what resistance looks like. You see, because that was a decision to not participate in what he felt was life threatening. You see what I'm saying? Like going back to prison, he obviously made that decision that wasn't an option. And then you see it even with the one cop that was running around L.A. With his manifesto.
Yeah. Garner.
Yeah, when there's a decision made. Out here, the one cat that got out of the courthouse in Atlanta, same thing. A decision is made. Like, I'm not going for it. You know what I'm saying? I think he ended up killing like 2 deputies, and was on the run. Actually, got out of the courthouse and was found like an hour and a half away. You know what I'm saying? Like, really got out of the city. Really got away with breaking out of the court. And again, those are decisions. So obviously the ability is there, if we can shake that psychological chain.
Yeah. And that's why I said it's just something that we have to begin to educate ourselves upon, and as I said, it has to be a re-education process to take place. You understand that we have a life that's worthy of living. So much even to the point that if my life is going to be taken, it's going to be taken on my terms.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I've witnessed in regards to what's being shown as resistance, versus what I know to be resistance. Because these cats are, there's a reason why men don't go around fighting over everything. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, it's a dangerous activity, and it's reserved for when it's necessary. And that's why I was hoping that manners, would be reintroduced as part of, future codes of behavior. You know what I'm saying? I know it's on.
We definitely have, the 10 basic stops. Stop being rude to one another, stop being discourteous, stop arguing, stop fighting with one another. And we need to let these brothers and sisters know that, listen, when you're doing that, you serve the interests of white supremacy. Because if I knock your head off right now as a result of you trying to fight me or disrespect you, you might be dead and I might be in jail. And so, let's not do that.
What? The consequences.
I was saying that, and you might be dead and I might be in jail. That's going. So they killed with one stone. So let us not do that. You know what I'm saying? If we want to fight anyone, let it be. Because one thing that they doing, you and me. So if we don't want to fight anyone, then let us make the agreement amongst ourselves as victims of white supremacy, non-white people, that it would be people who represent the system of racism and white supremacy. If we don't have to fight anyone. You know what I'm saying? Let it be the people who represent that system that we fight, or that ideology, or who wants to enforce ideas and practices of that system. If we don't fight anyone as a people, then let it be us fighting them. Because when me and you fight, they still benefit. One less nigga they got to worry about, as they like to say, and there's another one I could possibly put in prison, and another one I could take away from his family, his children, people, and, they're winning on many levels as a result for a fight. So let's not argue that. Let's not kill each other.
Yeah, and that also. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but if we are going to do that, it'll be against these people. That's why I said it. The self-defense that we begin to teach to our, it has to be. We have to understand that it's a mentality that's connected with an ideology in itself. It's not just about, self-defense. We educating our people about why they defend themselves, who they should defend themselves against, when, and, for what reason.
Yeah, because I don't understand why grappling for girl children hasn't been like mandatory. You know what I'm saying? It got popular, over a decade now. It's available. And if most violence committed against women involve them, in a prone state, on the ground in some way, why not teach them how to defend themselves from their back?
From that position.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, this
makes perfect sense. You understand what I'm saying? And I asked myself that same. I mean, I just had a friend of mine ask me a couple of days ago. He wanted to put his daughter in some training. What I recommend, I told him put her in some grappling.
Yeah.
And then, because more than likely, as a woman, first thing somebody's trying to oppress her going to be doing, they're going to try to overpower her and put her down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, if she's in that situation, let it be to where she know how to come out on top.
All right, so what we're talking about is like an overhaul of some confusion on our part as victims,
mm-hmm.
as well as some confusion about violence, even like that I think it's
mm-hmm.
like we don't know that there's a such thing as political violence, that we don't know that there's a such thing as righteous rage, that we just
mm-hmm.
equate violence as bad. It's like I don't think the varying degrees are there, because if you bring up, okay, arm yourselves, if you're in a carry state, then carry a firearm, then it's like, oh no, they're scary. Like, you'll still hear that. And then you'll hear, Negroes be right on the front line with gun control, because they're associating guns with criminals. You see what I'm saying? Versus guns with
mm-hmm.
self-defense. So I think
mm-hmm.
undoing these layers will help us move to this subculture of self-preservation that you speak of. Like, got to demystify it.
Absolutely. That's why I said I believe it's a worldview, it's an ideology, it's a way of thinking that we have to begin to educate our youth with. And, even for ourselves as people who are older, we have to begin the re-education process. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To re-educate ourselves from the miseducation that we've been given. You understand? I mean, it's like, here it is. We have same black people that tell their son, don't fight for your rights, don't fight for your freedom. But if their son say, Mom, I'm going to join the Marines and kill for the United States, they'll throw them a party.
Mm.
You understand? But if he say, look, I'm going to fight for mine right here and make sure I get free right here and make sure my people here get their rights and make sure people here don't get oppressed and mistreated. Oh, don't do that, boy. But then, I'm going to go join the Marines and go kill for this establishment. I'm proud of my son. Look at this picture of my son in Marine.
Yeah, I loosely heard a story from a friend of mine about an associate of hers. The parents of a Navy SEAL, and I wish I had the good brother's name. They basically raised him up well. I think he was a Morehouse graduate, and he went into the military, or it's everything that the Huxtables told us we should do. This particular family did. And you know that he got lost at sea? That's the words. Lost.
Yeah.
Like, lost. And then they recognized he wasn't where he was supposed to be on the ship. Figured that he was he must have gone overboard. They don't say he was thrown or slipped, because they actually do not know what happened to him, allegedly. And they were so dismissive of the investigation that the mother had to get the corporate news involved and social media involved, because they kind of just she couldn't get no answers. It's like, what you mean? He's missing. Like, he was on board of a government owned ship. Like, what are you talking about? He's missing. And it was kind of blah blah until she got the press involved, and then they start trying to extend a little courtesy to her. You know what I mean? So just that's tragic. So even when you quote unquote behave and do as you're told, you know what I'm saying, you can still vanish from a moving boat.
Oh yeah, I have a friend of mine who was actually in the military, and he was actually a brother I know, rather, who was actually in special forces. It's just to shed some light to what you just presented. And often what he was saying is that when you are in these elite units as a black person, that is not light. And often what happens is, you may have a fellow white comrade that don't like that you there. Don't like that you made the cut. Don't like that you getting that type of training. And might try to oppress you. Now, of course, you a killing machine. So you're not about to accept that. So, when you in them situations where you're not going to accept that, yeah, it's a very strong possibility you might come up missing on that mission.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? In the name of friendly fire.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So this is someone I know who was in one part of one of those elite units. He was asleep at that time. He got some awareness after he got out of that madness, but he was just letting me know that, oh yeah, that's it happens regularly on those as they call them dark missions. You got some white boys don't like you in this unit. And, okay, yeah, you getting into it with old Sarge over here.
And I think that's what's confused. That's what Negroes are confused about, is that if it's ultimately a dominant culture set up on preserving resources, whether it's jobs, trade, income, property, then there's no space for you, and it's not necessarily as personal as just a bigot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, yo, no, I need this position to remain open. Like I need my resources so I can hand it on, and I can, again, part of their self-preservation process is to practice white supremacy racism. And I think Negroes have that confused because they're coming from an assimilationist worldview where they're like, well, if I just act a part, y'all going to, see past my color and I'll be able to participate, what I'm saying, in all the fruits, that there is. It's just a behavior thing. So now you interface with these people that don't care how you behave. They just view you as a threat to resources, right? To these advantages that the system is affording them. You have to go. And you know what I'm saying? So and so if we put that in the frame of self-defense or self-preservation, is this subculture that you're speaking of, this lifestyle, then even if we go into these environments, we should be operating from a self-defensive posture with again being situationally aware. I think that can apply in life in all regards.
Exactly. That's why I said it's a mentality, it's a worldview, it's an ideology that we implement wherever we at. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just, again, like Wilson said off the time, that wherever you get into as a black person, go into it with the intention of you are trying to advance and help black people. Whatever you get into, be on, like she said, be in chess mode, as she called it. You know what I'm saying? When you go in there, you operate with the mentality that you in here to get your piece. Just like they in there to get their piece. And you in there for that same reason. And you going to act accordingly. You know what I'm saying? You going to move accordingly. I mean, like they say, man, every system has, every military has recommended reading. They have books that they make, they soldiers study. Now for one of our books is a novel. And I say this and take this with a grain of salt. But I believe, we need to really read that book, by Sam Greenlee. Read the book, Spook Who Sat by the Door. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And really grasp the concept. A lot of people don't know Sam Greenlee was a Korean War veteran. And when he wrote that book, you understand, he wrote it from that perspective, that what if I took these same military, when he created that fictional, created off that premise. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, being deep cover.
Being deep cover. You understand what I'm saying? So like you said, that's also part of the mentality and the awareness for this, as you say, this thing we're trying to produce amongst our people, is that with any situation that you in, you operate for your best interest. Where, like you said, you at a job, whether you at an interview, wherever you at, you operate for the best interest of your own.
The best interest of who?
Your own.
Of your own, is
your
what you
people,
said? Okay, indeed.
Your own group, your whatever y'all are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
So what else is on your notes, good brother?
Well, so like you said, we try to, like you say, just deal with solutions and not just deal with necessarily just talking. Because that's the thing. A lot of times we like to talk and talk too much. And, we want I like to give some practical solutions, things that we can do to start, implementing the culture of self-defense and self-preservation. So just some practical things that we can deal with and things that can happen to make this become, a popular thing in our communities. And I just got one of the first things I want to deal with is, life. Teach the people around us the importance of their life, the importance of them around. But don't one person just suffer from losing their life. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. One person just don't suffer from that. And so that's one thing that I would say is that we have to begin to start right there, is that let us start with the importance of dealing with this issue of and not just in a generic sense, but in a sense that the life you live is connected to the body, the life that you live, the life that you have, your life should be preserved and maintained. And part of you living your life is not allowing your life to be violated, disrespected, or disregarded. Mm-hmm. So, one thing we need to start teaching, and like you say, respecting life. Respecting ours and respecting others, getting into the principle of treating others the way we want to be treated, wanting for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves, implementing that principle, and also implementing the principle that, we're not going to accept mistreatment. We're not going to accept, physical violence or violations upon our life. So, again, we just start teaching these things, these balances of life,
Yeah, that's especially important with people in intimate relationships. For some reason, that's tolerated. Abusive behaviors are tolerated if you think you're in love with those people. And we know that domestic violence leads to death way too often.
I go to Mr. Fuller's saying, first time, last time, whether you a man or a woman hits you in your face, brother, let her go. Mm-hmm. Don't deal with her no more. It's over. Vice versa. You a sister, man hits you in your face, or put you down, or do something that they ain't supposed to be doing to you physically, it's over. Forever. First time, last time. Because we're not going to build this tolerable culture of us being harmed. So, men and women, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't let it happen. Woman hits you in your face as a man or pulls a weapon on you. For me, my own personal code for myself is a woman can never call the police on me. That's a personal code for myself. If a woman calls the police on me and her are over forever. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to ever do anything to you to have you to call them on me. And if you call the people on me who have a right to kill me and violate me, you brought that on me. So I can't deal with you.
Yeah.
No, that's just my own personal code. You know what I'm saying? Like, for myself, I can't, don't ever put your hands on me because I'm not going to ever put my hand on you.
Indeed. So we have life on the list, and what else?
Yeah, life. That first, life. Teaching is important. That's one of the things that we do for dealing with this kind of helping us get into this institutional self-defense, self-awareness. That second too, learning about, the importance of self-defense. What it can do for you, and and what it can't, learn about is what it will do, and in certain situations, learn about the science of it, the limitations of it, learn about it, getting comfortable with the idea of it, you know what I'm saying, having to utilize it and practice it, and, familiarizing yourself, A lot of times, we know these corporate groups are reading The Art of War for, corporate situations and all of that.
48 Laws of Power is the new rendition.
So, familiarize yourself with these books. And, you got the Tao of Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee, the Book of Five Rings, Miyamoto Musashi, the samurai, the brother out there in Atlanta, Baruti, he wrote a book, Asafo, for the African warrior. Read these works, learn about warfare situations where people defend themselves and how it benefits.
And I think that should also extend to to psychological and emotional warfare. I think that the physical self-defense people think is a no-brainer, although they still need training. But we are tolerating a lot of microaggressions, in our daily life. And I think those
exactly. That's why I said, read and study the writings on war. You know what I'm saying? Read and study those things, because those books will teach you about those microaggressions and those tactics used in warfare and all that, and you'll learn how to neutralize them. So I would also say, that's why I said the information aspect is study war as a science. You know what I'm saying? Read these books written by successful warriors who actually participate in war. Read these books, study their works, read these information, learn them. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, it'll teach you those things that you identify. You know what I'm saying? Especially Sun Tzu, he deals with that in a lot of detail. How to create a spy, how to spot a spy, how to recruit a spy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
so
also how to avoid war, escalating to the physical.
So exactly. That's what I said. So let us study it in itself, you know what I'm saying, to learn about it. And, so that way we know, is this really a situation where I need to go here right now, or is this a situation where I can avoid this? You know what I'm saying? Because some situations call on immediate physical, implementation with certain situations. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I said studying war in general, learning, counting the odds. Is this good for me to do right now? Okay, should I wait before? All of those things, that's what I'm saying. Begin to study it as an information, as a genre. You know what I'm saying? Just like we read novels and comic books, we need to study that same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Third, exercising. Man. Get in shape, plain and simple. This is a struggle for me, myself, but I'm engaging in it. You know what I'm saying? Is that because, like one of my friends that's a martial artist, doctor says, no wind, no win. You know what I'm saying? So if you ain't got no wind in your body,
you're almost guaranteed to lose, yeah.
Oh, man. We didn't see them hood fights. Brother lost for no other reason than he ran out of gas. Then was working the cat, and he just was over. He ran out of gas. You know what I'm saying? So, it was like, there's another practical solution that we can do for those who are trying to be committed to the concept of self-preservation, self-defense. Getting in shape, exercising. As we know, this one has many benefits. It can help you with your health. You know what I mean? In general, overall improve your health and give you that mental clarity. As we know, exercise helps alleviate stress and various things and other physical ailments, but also getting you in a position to, if you are faced with physical confrontation, whether you have to run from someone or run someone down, you'll be able to do so. So I would say work on getting in shape, exercise and trying to make that a priority. And that's a solution, as we know, it has multiple benefits. Fourth, pick an art, a physical art, the science of something that we should definitely partake in as a people, and learn different systems of fighting because you may be in a situation where you may not always get to the gun.
Mm.
You know, or you may be in a situation where you might have to take a gun, or your gun is taken from you, or you just in a situation that don't require a gun, period, and ain't one around, and you got to deal with it now. So, you know, learning a martial art, learning the strategies of fighting, learning how to fight, and, you know, learning these different systems and how these certain practices of fighting can help you. I want to say real quick, I saw a situation where that brother got killed in Florida when he pushed that white guy down, and the white guy pulled his gun out and killed him in front of the gas station. The white guy that was threatening his family or whatnot.
Mm.
And someone that I used to train with, when I saw that video, I saw it and I said, wow, because the certain instructor used to always tell me that whenever you're in a situation with physical conflict with someone, and, you know, an indigenous guy I know, you know, was telling me, you know, man, whenever you're in a situation when you're in physical contact with someone, you know, when you get them to the ground, don't leave distance between you and
Mm.
he said, because one or three things is going to happen. One, they might get up, run away, go get a weapon, or go get help to come serve you. Two, you leave that distance between them. They might get their bearings back together and get up and serve you. You know what I'm saying? Or three, you giving them space to pull a weapon to get up and harm you.
Mm.
So if you ever in a physical situation, whenever you get someone, once you cross the line where it's physical, when you get them to the ground, you close that gap. You either get yourself in a position where you could finish the job, or if they do reach for something, you have the ability to take it from them or prevent them from getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I say study fighting, study martial arts, because when I saw that video, that's the first thing my mind reflected back to, that knowledge that was shared with me by this martial arts instructor. And I said, man, if that brother has a training, he'll be alive right now.
Wow.
Someone, or you in a physical confrontation, you get someone to the ground, don't leave that space between you and them. Close it immediately. But, you know, so that's why I say studying the martial arts, studying the systems, learning how to fight. Many of us got the heart to fight, but we don't know how to fight.
And then there's the arrogance that's been handed down is that everybody, all black people can fight. Like,
that's why I said many of us have the heart to fight, but don't know how to fight. And, you know what I'm saying? So you might be willing to fight, but if you ain't got no knowledge, the one who knows is going to always be the one that don't.
mm-hmm.
You know, I don't care. So, you know, learning knowledge, and that also goes back to, again, the first point or second point, be in this shape, because you might be willing to fight. You ain't got no win, you're going to lose. You forgot you just drank 2 40s and smoked a black, or drank a liter of 7-Up and ate 10 donuts. What, you want to fight now? You know, it's like, word. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you really think you about to make that happen? Okay, we'll see how long that lasts. I mean, throwing punches for 2 minutes is a long time, brother.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you all the time. Just time yourself one day. Just go shadow box.
And then look at the professionals. Well, they be waiting for that bell to ring. Like,
exactly.
The hell?
Exactly. So, you know, again, try to condition yourself and learn how to fight. Try, whatever system that is, you know, try to pick a system and learn it. You know, me personally, I'm on the other ideology of Bruce Lee that, you know, no system is the way. Every system has something to offer. Try to take whatever system that you can learn from and make it benefit. What's that and make it work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but so, and this is, now I'm going to deal with a solution. Many people will say, well, I can't afford that, or I ain't got the time to train. Things like that. But usually when we hear is that we can't afford it. Well, this goes out to people who might be in groups, organizations, whatever they involve with, friends or organizations or religious institutions or cultural institutions. Okay, well, one thing I could do is, okay, we're going to put a man and a woman from the group, that want to go. And then this is how we make it affordable. Okay, now we're going to all put this money so you can go take this class with the agreement that you come back and teach us.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? But your job is when you there to learn. You ain't there to play. You ain't there, do anything else. Your job is to learn this. And then when you learn, you come back and you teach us. This is a way that we can learn collectively arts. For those who have this claim that can't afford it. And that's what we do. Y'all got a brother in your group that grew used to fighting, and he might got that Zulu energy already, and he might be halfway decent in shape. And okay, brother, look, well, this is your mission. We put this money together. You gonna pay. We gonna pay for it. And you gonna come back and educate us.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That way it's affordable. And this is something that we can do. And again, if it's done well enough between I can pick 2 or 3 people, and everybody pay for these 2 or 3 people, and they go learn 2 or 3 different systems, and then come back and teach the group, the family, the circle, the organization, whatever, these 2 or 3 systems. So they could be well rounded, and they could be. And I know I'm implementing this right now as we speak, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
No, I understand.
And so it's something that. The solution for those who say, well, we don't have the money to do it or whatever. Okay. Next one is then also learning about, which is a controversial one, is being armed. Like I was been programmed to stay away from weapons and think that weapons are bad, and get you some weapons. And not only get you some weapons, but learn about those weapons. Learn about them. Learn how to use them. Don't just, get some guns and they just sitting, you ain't never shot it before, or you in a situation where you don't know how it works, you don't know how to clean it, don't do that. Get you some weapons and actually learn how to use them and learn about the legal or so legal rights that they say, whatever state that you live in or wherever you at, learn about all those laws and that pertain to that firearm. That way, within whatever confines that you say you have, and learn how to use them. My other solution will say, well, man, guns are expensive. We don't know, we can't afford them. The same example we did before. Y'all got 4 friends. Okay, look, we all gonna drop 100 a week. And, at the end of the month, we're going to split the pot up. We're going to put 2 names in the hat. We're going to pick 2 names. And whoever 2 names come out, we're going to take what we saved up and buy these them people a firearm and repeat the process till everybody in the group has a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
This is a viable solution that we can do. Churches take donations all the time and, different. This is what we do. We put together, there's 10 of us. We all drop $100. We're going to keep doing that till all 10 of us has a firearm. And this is simple. It takes the burden off the individual not being able to so-called arm himself, having that ability. That financial constraint that's preventing many of us from getting harmed. So that's a doable solution we can do to get the firearms within our ability. Mm-hmm. So I would say, learn about that. Like I said, firearm knowledge, getting the firearms. My next thing too is to learn about the people who took place in, learn about different figures, historically or modern, who place in acts of combat. Learn about them. Learn about it, anything like that, because you might have to be in that situation. So get familiar with the psychology, get familiar with the situational experience, the history, learn about it. And because these are things that get you in that same mentality, that same mind frame. Along with practicing all of those things that we just mentioned, practicing shape and everything. These are some of the things that could bring that common awareness for us, and some solution-oriented things that we can do to try to get us to that point. And the reason why I said learn about these people and things like that, because these are people that we should draw inspiration from. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we should to be these people to inspire others. Because it's the reason why, it's just like that Kroger situation, that Gregory Bush, the white supremacist that went to that Kroger, who went to a black church before he went to that Kroger. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You know, to kill people. He killed 2 black people at the Kroger. Well, I'm going to tell you is the brother Dominic Reiser, I believe was his last name. I remember this first name because I got a brother named Dominic. But it was a black man on site who had a firearm on him, and when he started, he got into a firefight with Mr. Bush. You know what I'm saying? And that's what contained him when the police got in. That brother who got into a firefight with him. You see what I'm saying? But it's the reason why they don't tell you about that brother, because they don't want you to be him. You see, understand what I'm saying? So this is why I say, no, we need to learn about these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull that up because I thought I loosely heard that it was a white helper that came with a firearm, and then he said, like, you know, we don't kill each other. We don't kill each other. It was something. That's how people felt it was racially motivated. I mean, obviously it was racially motivated, but that was one.
Of course, no. A white guy tried to talk to him, but the one who actually got into a firefight with him was a black male.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you can research it. But that's actually who did it. Even his sister here in McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? In Florida. You know, I think her name was Jazmine James. You know, that's an example of training. Because kind of find out now, she grew up taking boxing lessons. You understand? She had some training. So when she was confronted, she didn't have no fear about going for hers.
Especially since very little help was on the way.
Very little help is on the way. And you had to make it happen. And on top, that's why I say it's the...
And on top of that, they didn't. She's claiming that she had to call the police herself.
Yeah, the man. Exactly.
That's wild, man.
Now, and this is the situation we could point to that with her right there. That if she didn't defend herself, she could have really been hurt in that situation. But that's why I say, hell, you might even, because he tried to grab her throat. We know you can die from getting choked out. You understand what I'm saying? But she prevented herself from further harm by giving them straight jabs to that chin. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like she prevented herself from facing further harm.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Even to this guy at the Kroger, the brother at the Kroger that pulled his firearm and started engaging. Well, more people could have got killed if he didn't take that up. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times we're going to prevent further harm. But what I was one thing I read about her, you know, she took boxing lessons. So she was in a situation where her training kicked in. And it helped her. You understand what I'm saying? So when the conflict came, she reacted immediately. You know, and was able to walk away from the situation.
Yeah, indeed.
And so people, like a lot of people was, why didn't the men didn't do anything? Why didn't the men didn't do anything? Well, because those men ain't been brought up more than likely under the culture of self-defense. More than likely they've been brought up under the culture of serving.
Serving what?
White interest. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So, you know, if those black men that was present that watched her, maybe if they was forced to take some boxing classes growing up, you know what I'm saying? That, you know, that instinct perhaps, just perhaps, would have kicked in with them. Perhaps. But see, that's what I'm saying. It's a culture in place where we're not teaching our children. You understand? So that's why I'm saying self-defense will teach you to defend yourself no matter who's trying to harm you. You see what I'm saying? Like her, in that situation, she didn't say, oh, this is a white man, let me stop. No, this is a threat. Let me deal with it.
Yeah, indeed.
You know what I'm saying? And so this is why I'm saying we need to, the ideology and the worldview that comes with being a practitioner of self-defense and self-awareness is that you don't harm any others, but when someone's trying to harm you, regardless of what they look like, you will deal with it.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to say that, just some solutions, some practical things that we could try and do to get better and practicing or some things, just at least try to set up a guideline for some people. What are some things that we can do, to, learn about, the importance of self-defense, the practice of it, and, things of this nature.
Yeah, I'm sure that this is I'm sorry, learn about the
system. I'm saying learn about systems. Just learn about ourselves and within the context of the system, the importance of us defending ourselves, and so that we can likewise start developing our own concept systems, our own worldviews on the practice of preserving our life and self-preservation. That's why I use the term self-preservation, because at the end of the day, that's what I said. We start off with the issue of life. Mm-hmm. Is your life worthy of preserving? Is your life worthy of being protected and respected? Is your life worthy of being valued, or is it worthy and violated? So I think the more we begin to understand these concepts and learn more about them, and along with the training that goes with them, we won't become bullies. We won't become all these things we've been taught to fear. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We've been taught to be, we don't want to be like them. How are you being like them when you ain't doing what they're doing?